Doom vivamos vivamos Epicureans. This is the BCE Comics Pod One Shot Edition. I'm your host Nick Smith, and I'm joined by.
Stojr from Stojr Shelf. How's it going, Nick?
I'm doing okay. I'm getting tripped up. Right, we haven't recorded in a little bit, and now I'm like, well, wait, I say something usually, and it's not that I intended to. It's not in my notes. It just has kind of happened. Anyway, we are participating in Kurtis Findlay's Epic Marvel Podcast Reading Club, and this one shot is going to be our brief thoughts on today's issue, which is Uncanny X-Men number 196. What was that? And this is a Secret Wars 2 tie-in. Now, Stoger, I know we talked about Secret Wars 1 and that you have been reading it and so forth. I have never actually read Secret Wars 2, with the exception of the occasional tie-in issue here and there.
No, same. I have very little knowledge about Secret Wars 2 other than it's more of the Beyonder walking around on Earth. That's about the extent of my knowledge.
Right.
Although one of the Avengers epics, I think, covers more of the main event than anything else, than any of the tie-ins, if I remember correctly. But no, have not read the that series, and it feels a little stretched out and weird because it goes into the next epic collection too.
Yeah. I do seem to recall that it was weird. It was all over the place. The one memory of mine that sticks out with that, I think it was in Spectacular Spider-Man, that as the Beyonder's learning how to be human, Peter Parker teaches him how to use the toilet. I think that's right. Something weird like
Yeah,
that.
no, you're right. There was something like that. I think I have it on the wall somewhere. Somehow that spectacular got collected in one of the collected editions I have, but I wouldn't be able to find it quickly. So
Yeah, no worries. I won't put you to the task. Okay, so in this issue, as Professor Xavier is teaching a class at Columbia College, or Columbia University, I don't know why I had college in my notes, he gets a psychic hint that someone in his class is planning a murder, and so he calls the X-Men together to investigate. They begin scouring campus, and eventually Kitty comes upon a group who were planning to kill Xavier because he was a mutant, and of course the bigoted students work out that Kitty must be a mutant too, and so they kidnap her. Meanwhile, Rachel has been feeling the presence of the Beyonder, and as she attempts to use her psychic powers to show the Beyonder to Xavier and Magneto, she sets off a bomb that was set by the murderous students. And this leads to Rachel to go find the X-Men to rescue Kitty and almost take the life of one of the students, although Rachel is sought by Xavier. As for our subplots, Nightcrawler begins questioning his faith since he has met the Beyonder, and a powerless Aurora Monroe is in Africa, and she is supposedly shot by the siblings Andrea and Andreas. All right, Stoger, what are your thoughts?
So I think the art in this issue is really strong. I like the cover. I like the just all the facial expressions. The first splash page with Xavier looks great. You get the stereotypical fuzzy eyebrows, things of that nature. I I feel like the issue. I like the issue, but I also feel like there's a little bit too much required reading, and if I did the required reading, I would enjoy it more. It feels a little disjointed because I didn't do that. So I have no context on why anybody has met the Beyonder, right? Because that all happened in the limited series. Because this is the first tie-in to with Secret Wars 2. I don't really have a good frame of reference of why Magneto's here. Last we saw him, he was bobbing in the water. Now, if we were reading New Mutants, we would know, and they've dropped little Easter eggs there. My plan for New Mutants is, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to execute on this plan, but my plan is to try and speed run the second volume of New Mutants to kind of catch up. Because as we get into the next Epic collection, there's another crossover with New Mutants that doesn't show up until New Mutants Volume 3. Now, that's all in the Epic collection that we'll read, so it's not that big a deal, but I'm trying to not get too far away from like the status quo of everybody and get completely confused, right? We already have new characters like Warlock introduced in New Mutants. We saw his dad a couple issues ago in here. The I'm curious if I'm supposed to know who the the two people in Africa are, because I do know who they are, just from Marvel knowledge, or if this is sort of their introduction. So I'm not going to spoil that. But these are characters that will be around for a little while, so that's certainly interesting. I enjoy the Nightcrawler wrestling with his faith arguments. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's on brand for him. Makes a lot of sense. Um, the storyline of anti-mutants and the bomb and things like that, I think that kind of works for me. Although and it plays in with like what happened earlier in the book with Xavier getting kind of a beat down and things like that. So I wish we had a little bit more time to marinate in this, because I feel like it's we're busy looking at other things, and then all of a sudden we revisit this plot line of what's going on campus, and it feels a little odd, but it's not completely out of place. Kitty dropping the N bomb for the second time in as many epics. Was the last one God Loves Man Kills? No, it
Um,
was before that.
yeah.
So twice in three epic collections. Is interesting. Like, I don't know where she thinks she's getting invited to the picnic, that she's going to be able to do this stuff, but
It
and
was
somebody
different in
online
the
said
80s.
that like their copy was censored.
I was wondering about that because, yeah, you'll note I'm being very careful not to move around the comic viewer because I don't want to go to that page. Because in the first volume, which both you and I have, or not first volume, but the first printing, which you and I have,
Yeah,
Stojer, it is not censored. And there was a reprint
yeah,
in 2024, so I wonder if that means the N word was censored in the 2024
yeah.
edition.
Because it wasn't censored in God Loves Man Kills either, or it wasn't censored in all of the spots. It might have been in one spot, but then like in the back of the book or somewhere else, it was uncensored. I forget.
That sounds right.
Um,
Yeah, like in
yeah.
the
So
actual book, the story, it was censored, but then there was backup material and it wasn't in the
right.
backup material.
Yeah, yeah. So, but look, she's not just saying it to say it. She's not saying it to cause a problem. She's saying it to make a point here with some bad guy there. Rachel kind of throwing her tantrum. It still feels like I'm a little confused. Like she's. I guess my confusion with Rachel is like she's raging against the fact that she's in a time that might mean she doesn't exist. But the flip side of that is the whole point of what she did to send Kitty back in time was to fix the timeline. And
Mhm.
she does exist. Like she didn't fade away like Marty McFly here, right? So like I'm not sure I get why she's this upset. I also don't understand yet why she's able to kind of revert herself back to her um, hunter form. I'm trying to remember if they've given this a name yet. So I'm trying to again not spoil things with what she might have been called here, but
She was
with
just
all the
called
sort of
Dog, wasn't she?
that would have been her name, but like those things had a name. Like
Oh,
when they
okay.
when they introduce Ahab at a later date, like they might just call them hounds. I'm trying to remember,
I think
but
that's it.
um,
Hounds, that's
yeah,
it.
yeah, that might be it. And I do like Magneto at the end of this issue, right? Like him giving Rachel a choice and sort of the connective tissue with that. I think that all makes a lot of sense. So overall, I enjoy the issue. I just feel like I needed to do some homework to really have it fully make sense to me. What about you?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't really care for this issue. While it's continuing the thread that we left off with Xavier being attacked while teaching at Columbia, and it builds on the anti-mutant sentiment that's growing in the United States, it seemed to have little other importance than that as far as I can tell, which, that's fine. Building on it is fine. And maybe the point is the growth of Rachel, right? I hadn't really been thinking about this much, but as you were talking about, why is she raging all the time? Why is she angry? Maybe it is a combination of, the way she was raised. We're led to believe that she was essentially raised in captivity to be this hound, right? So she's probably psychologically damaged from that and hunting down her own people for them to essentially be murdered, right? So she's probably working through that, and like you're saying, being displaced in time. No one can actually explain what that feels like because, as far as we know, that's impossible. So I'm sure that's very jarring as well. And maybe that's the point. She's incredibly angry and doesn't know how to deal with it. But the way comics are written at this time is usually they're a little more on the nose about pointing those things out. There'd be some other character that would say something like, "Oh, Rachel's so mad because she's can't adjust to being swapped through time," or whatever.
Yeah.
Then again, Claremont can be a little more deft than that, but um, let's see. I think one thing I did like. I think I can get to this page without getting to the one that we don't want to put on screen. No, it's not this page. I'm getting into the danger zone. You know what? I'm just going to skip it because we don't want to show that one page with the uncensored word. The scene where Wolverine and Kitty are sitting on the steps and Kitty tries smoking with Wolverine. I thought it was silly. That was fun. Clearly, it's trying to get across the message that smoking is bad for kids. But of course, Kitty's ignorance is showing there. Why does she even try? I get why Wolverine lets her, right? This is a parenting tactic that definitely happened back in the day of, oh, you don't want to smoke here, go ahead and try one, and they'll hack up a lung and it'll be terrible, right?
Yeah.
But also, Wolverine's clearly smoking a cigar. You don't inhale a cigar, man. You roll that on the tongue and just enjoy the flavor of it. But that's for another matter. All right, that's all I've got, Stojr. Any other final thoughts?
No, looking forward to the next issue.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, guys. Again, if you enjoy our thoughts, follow us on YouTube. We're going to read, rate, and review a full Big Collected Edition comic once a month, plus these daily one-shots. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you all next time.